The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and geek culture. We're coming to you live and direct from the Hall of F. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. Man, you have half of the usual suspects in the building. First and foremost, he is he is a riddle inside of an enigma trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
As for myself, my name is Lawrence Young. They call me Mary Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. Despite our diminished numbers, we do have an amazing show for you today. We are going to be talking to you all about Agatha All Along, the latest show coming from the MCU, premiering on Disney Plus. So we'll be talking to you all about that, and we will be talking to you all about The Penguin, the latest show from DC, spinning out of the latest Batman movie, The Batman, starring Colin Farrell as the Penguin. So we got that going on, plus whatever else it is you all want to talk about, and we'll let you know how it is that you can let us know what it is you want to talk about in just a moment. But before we do all that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, because without him, this show would not exist. So thank you, Scott Rubin. Hope all is well with you, good sir. And yeah, with that said, I guess we can go ahead and let the intern do what the intern does. Let's make it happen. Jay, that's the QJ.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
Thank you, intern. There it is, folks. You know what to do by this time, and if you don't, it's okay. I'm going to tell you. You can go ahead and jump into chat if you like, whether that be YouTube or on Twitch. We'll take your comments directly out of chat and bring them into the show. Or if you're feeling like you want to be, the coveted spot of the third member of Fantastic Forum. Doesn't happen that often. If you want to be the third member of Fantastic Forum, you can go ahead and jump, go to fantasticforum.live, hit that call-in button, and you will be the third member of Fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry. Look, I told you, it's a coveted spot. And it's so coveted that at this moment in time, unfortunately, unless you call in like right now, you're not even going to be the third member of Fantastic Forum. There it is. Done. You'll be the fourth member of Fantastic Forum, which is a coveted spot too, because it doesn't happen that often. Look, Moses Magnum was feeling it. He was like, no, nobody's going to take my spot. And so...
We're live?
Exactly, see? We're live. We're live. We're on air.
Sorry.
Doing it real big, Moses Magnum. Welcome to you. You are the third member of Fantastic Forum. Tell the people where you're calling from and what you want to talk about. And I'm joking. You don't have to do that. Shout out to FT Moon. FT Moon is in chat saying hello. Hello, FT Moon. But boom, we got you. There it is. Hello back. Done. Uh-oh. Dang. I don't know what happened to Moses Magnum. He's having a little trouble, but he'll be back, I'm sure. But anyway, this is Fantastic Forum. We'll be talking about comics and comic-related things throughout the entire show. So if that's what you're into, you're in the right place. And if that's not what you're into, that's okay too. We talk about stuff. We have more than our fair share of asides. Wouldn't you say, Jay?
Yes, I would.
Indeed. Dude, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, like I missed not doing the show last week, which is something I feel like I say every time I miss a show, but because I was like so far away, I felt like I especially missed it. like I felt like I was like twice removed from Fantastic Forum because I was so far away. But
right.
Yeah, but it was despite the fact that like, because for those that don't know, I was actually outside of the country last week. I was fortunate enough to go to the Netherlands, and we can't hear you, Moses Magnum. I'm sorry, friend.
Sorry, my shit's still outside the country. I still have to use this shitty camera.
You look fine, friend.
No, I don't like this. This is not what I want.
No,
I know what you. Mo's right.
Yeah,
why is he right?
I'm like, this is terrible, right, Jay? Like,
you're being you, like, and thinking that everything is fine, but no, this is terrible.
This is not what. Like, this is
what's
not
so
what
terrible
we do
about
here.
this view?
It's terrible. Like, I'm all washed out. Like, I'm overexposed right
and
like, yeah. Like, yeah, it's horrible.
Framed,
well, see, here's the thing. And I get it. Like, I get it. I'm an optimistic guy. And I feel very fortunate that I get to have that frame somewhat naturally. But at the same time, there's some positives to this camera angle. Like, don't get me wrong, I agree. I don't want Moses to be that pale because he's not that pale in real life. But I kind of like the angle coming like down the arm of the camera. I kind of like that.
This?
Yeah.
Look, I get it. It's a leading line. It leads to the corner. This is not how I like my shot. FT Moon says, "Where are you from?" I'm from Chile. Hey, I'm from Los Angeles, but I'm still Latino. We speak Spanish here too.
There it is. Look, we speak a lot of Spanish in LA. Shout out to Chile. Thank you, FT Moon.
We spoke Spanish in the Netherlands.
We did. And Moses and I both got to go to the Netherlands, and it was pretty awesome just because, it was one of these rare opportunities where we kind of got to do the
I can't even show you the comic I bought, Generación X.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let's get you in here. Boom. Right. Mo bought a Generation X comic
number 3
in Dutch.
In Dutch. Like the old school art and everything.
Right. And that was basically what I was trying to lead up to, is the fact that despite the fact that we were away last week, we still like did our thing in regards to making sure that we were like, let's find the nearest comic book store, which was not far. We were in Rotterdam, and we were able, in walking distance of our hotel, we found a comic book store and went to go to this joint, and this joint was awesome. It was a great comic book store. Yendor. I think it was like, there's a word before it that I don't know what it means, like, which might be like the Dutch word for comic books, maybe, but I don't know. It was like strip something.
Yeah, a strip. Yeah, because it's comic strip. It's basically the Dutch word for comic strip, but they call it the comic books. Like, so it's a comedia strip or some shit. Like, they call it funny strips. That's what
something like that.
The little translation is funny strips, but that's what they call comic books.
But I know that when we spoke to people along our way going to the comic book store,
let me tell Jay. Can I be the one to tell Jay?
Tell Jay.
Jay, there was a Warhammer store dedicated to just Warhammer.
Nice.
Dude, like, you're not going to find that anywhere in the world, like, other than Netherlands. Yeah. FT Moon, en serio, hola, ¿cómo estás? Aquí estamos, man. But yeah, in Netherlands, there was a store dedicated to Warhammer. bro. Like, and the video's coming up. If you subscribe, like, hit the bell, that shit's coming up. I'm editing it. That's why it took so long to get here. That's why I have this shitty angle here right now. Is because I'm working on all this shit that we were doing in Netherlands.
Yeah. No, and legit, like the gentleman that we spoke to in the Netherlands that had the Warhammer store, his name was Neek, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Larry did the stupid American shit, like, oh, Nick, and he's like, no, Neek.
Well, I thought he was saying Nick with a Netherlands accent, and then he was like, and I saw the look on his face. I'm sorry.
He is from the Netherlands. He doesn't have an accent. That's how he meant to say it.
He has an accent, the same way I have an accent.
No, you have an accent. He doesn't. He's from the Netherlands. He's Dutch. Like, when he says Neek, it means Neek.
No, but right. He would have said Neek in America.
Right. And then you're like, oh, okay. And we call him Neek.
I called him Neek.
In America,
I made the mistake.
You could be like, he could identify as Neek, and we, like, he's got legislation behind him and everything. Yeah.
So I was like, I said Nick, and he was like, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, is it like Neek? And Neek, and I, oh, okay, cool, but he was awesome. Like, he took the time to kind of like answer all of my questions, which, me, I always have a lot of questions. So, because I was just like, look, I just know that when you have like, what I know is they had a lot of displays there. And this will show when the video comes. You'll see these beautiful displays. And what we all know, or at least those of us that are somewhat familiar with like the tabletop gaming scene, is that these figures don't come painted. They come like legit, like 100% unpainted. Like they're just plastic figurines, so it's like
they look like little tiny Gundams. Because
Gundams.
No,
Gundams
but like
have
like they have the frame, because you have to pop them out of the frame and shit. Like the little pieces.
No,
So I tried to. I was gonna buy some because I'm like, fuck. Like, we were taking this dude's time. I gotta pay. I gotta buy something, and then I'm like, 28 euros for something that, like, I can't. So I tried to buy a novel, and it was in English. But then I'm like, oh, I'll come back for it. And he's like, yeah, whatever. You fucking bad American.
What I'm saying is, this joint doesn't come out the box ready.
Yeah.
And so they had all this stuff displayed. So I was asking them, I'm like, so did you all paint all of this stuff? Because in my mind, I'm like, I know how much time it takes to do this. Not because I've done it myself, but because I've watched YouTube videos of people doing it. And I'm like, man, like, this joint is long in time lapse. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, like, if it's long in time lapse, I know it's like in real life, it's like, oh man, like, this is like some legit time. But it turned out, like, he's like, yeah, some of it we do ourselves, but some of it is like on loan from people in our community. And, they're just like, are you okay if we use this for like a month and a half? And I'm like, wow, like, that's so cool, because like the idea that, obviously when people buy this stuff and they take the time to actually paint it, and then they're like, it's done and it looks fantastic. In their mind, they're like, well, I'm going to use it. But to mess around and be like, you know what? You all can hold on to it for a month and a half, 2 months. It's like that, the kind of goodwill that you have to engender for that to be the case, considering the amount of time that these folks have put in. It's like, that's special. That's special. And so I'm like, good for them, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, and then Indoor was a interesting comic store too.
It was a really good the on the way, because we did a whole vlog going to the comic book store, and then we stumbled upon the Warhammer store, and it doesn't even have a name. It just said Warhammer, and I'm like, Larry, it says Warhammer, and I'm like thinking it's funny. Just say and then it's like, and we look in, and it's like there's this huge like castle like setup, and you'll see the video when you like, subscribe, hit the bell on our YouTube channel here. FT Moon, subscribe. Thank you for joining our Twitch, but you got to join our YouTube channel. We're gonna have other videos there of our adventures in even eating McDonald's in the Netherlands. You ever had a McCroquet a mint croquette, Jay? Yeah, a mint croquette. You ever had that? Jay's frozen.
Jay's frozen. Wait, the funny thing is, I don't think he is, but is
No,
he?
he's not. But it's
No,
my
no, his
favorite.
eyes are moving. Jay, why can't you
That's
hear us?
Oh,
He's not paying attention.
I was not.
Jay, where are you at, Jay? What are you doing?
He's with Oz.
Honestly, I was anticipating Tiger Claw coming in and asking us something. And
you
so,
were looking at the chat?
huh?
You were looking at the chat?
No.
Oh.
But
just
yeah,
preparing.
Jay's like, I'm in the zone. I'm in the Tiger Claw zone. Okay. Listen, you can go to the Tiger Claw zone if you want to, Jay, but I'm gonna tell you, you can't always come out. So you gotta be careful.
Jay, one of the things you got to know too, if you do go to a foreign country with us, is my ability to communicate across multiple countries and languages.
Oh, that's cool.
When it comes to ordering beer.
Yes.
Oh, dude, beer is so good.
Dude, we couldn't communicate for shit in France, but I got my Juvelet Grand 3 times, and then my Pardue Petit twice. Yeah, like, Larry's like, when did you learn French? I'm like, I don't know French. I just know I like beer, and I ordered it right.
We went to 3 countries, and Moses can order beer in every country that we went to.
Nice.
Like, which I was just like, oh, okay, I didn't even know that about Moses. Okay, cool.
I didn't know
That's
that either.
Great. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, no,
I was just like, damn, like, okay, like I'm the only dummy that doesn't know how to get my alcohol in foreign lands.
Yeah.
I gotta learn how to say vodka in every language. Which I think is
fortunately, I think champagne is like pretty universal. So.
Champagne, vodka, and tequila is universal, and gin is universal.
Jay,
enough, that's a good cocktail right there. It's like an adios.
Jay, every day is Jay's birthday. He's out here like, where's the champagne? He's like, let's toast it up.
Oh, look, here you go. Tiger Claw.
Go, Jay. There you go.
Tiger Claw says maybe Moses has connections in foreign countries when it comes to beer. They all speak the same language.
And listen, you're absolutely Tiger Claw. You're spot on, friend. Listen, when it comes to beer, Moses has a universal translator. I didn't even know this. I was like, wait, he was like ba wheat grana wheat niniban, and they brought him a beer, and I was like, what the heck?
For real.
I was like, what? I didn't know that.
Yeah, even for today's show, like having the opportunity to try some of the best beer on the planet, and then coming back, I'm like, you know what? Let me get a 211.
Nice.
Moses is like, let me take it back to the essence.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how I learned how to say beer in every language by drinking them 211s.
There it is. Numbers are universal.
Yeah.
Numbers are the same no matter what language you speak. So there it is. But yeah, man, it was a good time, and I was so happy to be able to like mess around and be able to experience my first European comic book store. And so like, yeah, that was super cool. So
did you talk about the book you bought or no?
You know what? I don't want to talk about it yet, only because
you're gonna make a review video.
I will.
Okay.
I will. But I did buy a book. I didn't buy a convention. I was on the cusp of buying a conventional American comic, and I was just like, why would I do that in Europe? And especially like why wouldn't I get something that feels like, okay, I could, like, I'm finding this here, and I wouldn't necessarily find this in a typical comic book store in America. And so that's what the route I went. And so I'll make a video about the book I bought and what I think of it.
And Jay, I think
yeah,
you would
soon.
love Dutch comics. Like, there's some like they have different genres that you just don't see here. Like, and they're just like adventure shit, like kind of like Tintin, you know. But
Right.
there's other characters, and they're like some are more comedy, some are more like what I would equate to hentai, but in Dutch, you know, like it's just and
Dutch
it's just
hentai.
yeah, and it's not like strict like porn. It's just they happen to have sex in them, and they don't censor it like that. Like they censor the bad words, but not the nudity. You know what I mean? Like it's a weird thing. So I'm like, man, like I know like there was like a character Gaston, and I'm like, that looks like one of like if Jay saw that as a cartoon, I think he would love this. Like it because it reminded me of like Unicorn Warriors, like that art style and everything. And then like I think Jay would love this shit, you know. So in the spirit of that, I did buy a Dutch comic. I haven't read it yet, but I'm gonna learn Dutch to read it, and it's called Zarde, and it's basically a Jungle Girl book, you know, with nudity.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's this is a reprint of an old comic. So the company's called Reboot Comics, and they're bringing it back out. So it's a number one. So I bought that, and then I bought part of like Mobius and Jarodowski's. Hey, look, FT Moon knows Jarodowski because Jarodowski is a French Chilean filmmaker. But his world, the Incal, is so Kill Wolfhead is the comic I bought, and it's basically it's part of that world. Like you're gonna see this in the movie soon because they got Taika Waititi doing the Incal movies now. But
Really?
this is but that universe has been in heavy metal comics since the 70s, and I read those as a kid. So like being able to find those in English, I can't find them in America in English, and I found them in the Netherlands in English. I was like happy as a pig in shit, you know. But
there it is.
I just couldn't carry it back in my with all my camera gear and everything. So I bought this little one, and then I was able to find a digital copy of the main series, so I bought that digitally. But I do want the physical eventually.
It was really interesting just because I feel like the thing that I felt was the best part of Yendor was that it felt like it covered a large spectrum of the comic book scene. Because it was like it had like your kind of like unconventional kind of like, well, I won't even say unconventional. Like it had mainstream comics inside of there. It had a lot of collected editions of different types of books, and they do like collected editions, I think, differently.
Well, dude, like that Watchmen, like
right.
They had the whole Watchmen book, but it was small, like a little bigger than a manga book. Right, the whole series in that size, and I'm like, dude, I want to buy it just because like I can carry that on the plane, you know, like
same thing with the like Batman Year One.
Yeah,
they had like Frank Miller, like Batman Year One, in that same size too, where it's like, you know, you could legit like it's just a slightly bit larger than what you would experience a manga with and it was, I'm pretty sure it was the entire Batman run. The Batman Year One run, which I'm like, dude, like what an awesome way to be able to experience that if you want, like, and that's the whole thing where it's kind of like, it's not like that existing takes away from the graphic novel, nor does it take away from the individual books if you want to shell out the money for those, you know what I'm saying? Like the floppies. And that was the thing that I was kind of taken aback by, where I was like, oh man, like there weren't a whole bunch of floppies in Yondor. And yeah, like
Yendor.
There were some, but it was like, and I'm sure like they can like it struck me as the kind of place where if you can have a pull list.
Oh, they
whatever
do,
you want.
Like I found Violator #1 from the new like Image stuff. Like that came out that week we were out. And I'm like, he's like, yeah. I'm like, I go, Larry, look at that. Like the cover looked tight. So I'm like, Larry, look, Violator #1's out. And then yeah, but that's not for sale. That's somebody's like pull list. So and
Right.
they didn't have any out on the floor. Like they just ordered
Mm-mm.
them for that person. Yeah.
Right. So you can get whatever you want as long as you like know that you want it beforehand. But it was one of these things where on one hand you had like the floppies they decide to carry, which is like the very mainstream stuff, the X-Men, like Justice League, like that kind of
Spider
stuff.
Boy.
Yeah, there was a floppy Spider Boy. Then you had like a lot of collected edition stuff, which, like I said, they kind of do collected editions a little bit differently over there, apparently. Like different formats and like prestige kind of format stuff, which is cool too. Then you have like the unconventional kind of stuff, which is like almost like, think about like when I say that, I'm talking about like what was George Takei's joint. What's the title of that?
They call us enemy.
They call us enemy. So
Yeah.
think about like stuff like that comes out in comic form, like that kind of stuff was in the shop. And I was like, and which is like along the lines of the book that I ended up buying. And then they also had like a legit manga section, which I was like, oh, that's cool.
And it was in English.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I almost caught up. I almost just bought all the Chainsaw Man just to be caught up. I'm still on volume 2 technically, but I don't want to fall behind. So they're on like 16 now. So I wanted to catch up, but I'm like, nah, I can't carry all that back.
And then they still had like some back issue kind of stuff, and some of that's in English and some of that's in Dutch, and that was interesting because I was like, wow, like I would go to sections and I wouldn't know if I was gonna be looking through English books or Dutch books, and it was like mixed in, and I'm like, I'm not mad at that at all, and then on top of that they had a really robust like Gundam, like Gunpla, like joint upstairs, which I don't know, like I don't know what Gundam is like in the Netherlands because this is my only experience with it, but I'm assuming from this, I'm like, oh, okay, like cats must love Gundam over here because they had like a whole like upstairs loft section that was all Gunpla. And I was just like, which, for those that don't know, are basically like Gundam models. And not the entire not the entire upstairs was Gundam models, but most of it was. And so I was just like, wow, like
they had the underwater collection that was like
right.
fun to see.
right. Like some joint where I'm like, oh man, like I would expect to see that at a place that's like, oh, what we do is models. But for a comic book store that's just like, okay, we do comic books primarily and Gundam, I was like, oh, they got like this joint, which is like, kind of feels a little bit niche to me. And, but I might be wrong about that. Maybe, maybe the underwater joints are like super, everybody wants that. I don't know, but probably not. So I was just like, wow, like this is cool. It was a cool store. I was happy that we got to have that experience.
Nice.
Next time you have to come to the Netherlands, Jay.
Well, if you had invited me,
Jay, listen. I can't invite you if I didn't have the spot to invite you. Like it's not like it was like Jay, come to the Netherlands with us, but you got to pay for your own ticket. You're not going to just do that, right?
Oh, I couldn't even get off of work.
And this is the whole thing, Jay. Like this is what I knew. Because you would have to have been there like a week.
Like 7 days almost. Like
with
traveling, yeah.
No, not even almost. It was legit 7 days, wasn't it?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just like, trust me. Jay, look, don't think I didn't think about you. I did think about you, friend.
And for the next trip, we are like, I do need a boom mic operator. So
right. So yeah. So you gotta look. We gotta get you a job that you can be like, F that job.
Yeah. No. Tell them to go fuck themselves and wait for you till you get back. That's it.
Right. We'll work on
I'll
that.
do that.
Just slap your dick around.
It is. No. Jay's ready. Jay's been look, he out here like Eminem, like he's like you got to take that moment, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Jay's like
spaghetti.
So speaking of Gundam,
whoa, wait.
the movie.
I just had he was like speaking of slapping my dick around. Thank you, Jay, for not saying that. Speaking of Gundam,
the new movie is out in theaters right now today and I think Sunday.
What new movie?
Where it's from the Xenos point of view.
No, that joint doesn't start yet.
Yeah, it's in theaters today and Sunday, I think.
Oh wait, are you talking about like the new series that's coming to Netflix?
No, the movie. Or there is a movie.
What movie?
From the Xenos point of view.
That's what I'm telling you. The Xenos point of view movie.
What's it? Xeon. What's it called?
It's called Fuck You, Larry.
Yeah, I don't. It's like Gundam 1 or something.
Gundam FL.
Damn. I don't like. I'm saying. Wait.
Oh yeah, I think that is it.
Wait. Gundam FL is hilarious. Look. I want that to exist now. The Requiem of Vengeance joint or no?
I don't know the full title.
No, Joe. It's okay. I still love you, Joe. You know this. It's okay. I'll look it up after the show. God damn it.
But low key, Jay, I'm glad you didn't get to go to the Netherlands because you would have seen the treachery that Larry, like, he made a friend with somebody, and I was so pissed.
Mobile Suit Gundam 1.
Okay, I don't even know what that is. Oh, wait, continue, Moses. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm over here. I just watched Larry make friends with somebody. And I'm like, ugh, like Larry's so fickle. Like I didn't realize how he is. Like I'm like,
what does that mean?
Yeah. I was like, ugh.
What?
It's like, yeah, it's like they like judo and shit, and they're all hugging each other about it.
Like, what?
Yeah,
wait.
Like man, fuck this.
Bro.
Like, I'm all angry in the corner. Like, oh. It looks better in the camera. With this camera, it looks shitty. But like, if you get shadow over my face, like it was.
So listen, Moses was unhappy, and he was unhappy not because of what I was doing, but because of the situation he was in. Which is okay. Like, it makes sense. Like, Moses should have been unhappy in that situation. But he was more so like looking at what I was doing versus what he was doing. And he was like, why does he get to have so much fun? And it wasn't like I wasn't having that much fun. I was just talking.
Yeah.
But he was suffering. and if I had realized that, which is my fault as a friend, like if I had realized Moses was in like a precarious situation, I would have stepped in and be like, hey, stop. I thought he was having a good time too, but he was not.
Well, I was working at that point. I was working security and like I was doing like bodyguard work, like stuff that I wasn't even supposed to be doing, you know?
Right.
But that's part of the mystery.
Right.
You have to,
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Next time.
But I would have been like, if Jay was there, I'm like, man, Larry's such a bitch. Like I could hear Jay saying that, looking at that. If I like,
he does it all the time.
Yeah,
like, he did that at Comic-Con. Like just this last Comic-Con, like he invited us. Like we were supposed to meet up for lunch, and he's all chatting to these two chicks, and I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs.
What two chicks?
The two chicks that met that day.
Well, listen. Wait a minute. In my defense, Jay could have come over, and I would have introduced him, but Jay didn't come over. Jay sat down at the thing. It's not like I waved him off or anything. I wasn't like, oh, talking to these chicks. Go over there. I didn't do that. Jay was like, oh, Larry's talking to people, and he went and sat some other table by himself.
It was better over there.
Jay, you could have had like your first mistress.
And
He didn't say
second.
I was wrong. He just laughed. You heard that, right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, I legit, like, one chick had no place to go. She was locked out of her house, and Jay had a room. I'm just saying.
Didn't.
Oh,
I have my car. I have my car.
That's
but
enough.
That's not a room.
That's
Jay
enough.
Jay had access to other rooms. I'm just saying, like, Jay. Look, listen, Jay. You know me, Jay. You're not gonna come next to me and I'm gonna just mess around and act like I don't know you.
No,
You're in the conversation.
and then you like turn back to the girls. You like say hi, and then you like right back.
I said hi because when I looked, I was like, "Oh, Jay's over here at some random table. Like you had already ordered food."
That was the second time. That was like because at first I sat by you, and then you were occupied, so I left and I went to get something to eat.
Jay, you could have just stayed right there.
Nah.
Nah. That's too funny, man.
Enough of the grievances now.
It's okay. It's okay. Look, we need to get into our topics for today. Let's talk about some Agatha all along. You ready, Jay? Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, where's Mo going? Mo's gone. He's gone already. Look, I'm mad. I don't dislike Mo's angle.
Also,
no, it's more about gel coat.
When the fourth round would...
Don't you call it?
does it look good already? Jumbo Scampi for limited.
All right. Agatha All Along. It's the new series premiering on Disney Plus. What was that, like a week ago or a week and a half ago? Is it 2 weeks ago already? I don't even know.
I think it was the 18th.
Yeah. Maybe 2 weeks, yeah.
So yeah, that's like 2 weeks ago. Man, crazy. So yeah, 2 weeks ago, and it's spinning out of WandaVision because it's Agatha Harkness, basically trying to get her power back after the events of WandaVision, and so we have. It's a show where Agatha is trying to go down the witch's road to get her power back. So at this point, we have at this time, technically, I think we have 4 episodes out, even though I don't know that we got to see the 4th episode because it came out probably
today
while we were trying to start the show.
Yeah.
But 3 episodes have come out so far that we've been able to see. So, with that said, Jay, Agatha All Along, what have you thought, or what did you think about what you've seen thus far?
I thought it's pretty good. Like, I'm not blown away, although I was surprised by that one character's death. But yeah, it's interesting.
Okay.
Wait,
how many episodes have you seen, Jay?
3.
Okay, got it.
And yeah, episodes 1 and 2 could have been edited into one episode, I think.
I mean, but it's not like you waited to watch the second one, right? Like you just watched it right after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it was, to me, it does like
for pacing and shit, or
Hmm?
for like pacing and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like we're waiting a long time watching through what we know isn't real. like if it were a surprise or something like we didn't know what we were getting into, maybe that would have been a cool reveal at the end. But I already knew that. And so we're kind of just wading through stuff that ultimately doesn't matter. And we spend a lot of time doing it. So I didn't need that to be as long as it was.
It's interesting because listening to Jay say that, it's like that makes a lot of sense to me. Even though if you had asked me before Jay said that, I don't know that that's what I would have said was the issue with episode 1 of Agatha all along. But listening to Jay say that, it's like, no, like that makes a lot of sense. It's just one of these things where, from my perspective, I was just like, no, episode 1 and episode 2 did feel like it should have been one episode. Now, they released them together. And so, for all intents and purposes, it is one episode. But it's one of these things where it's more about a convenience factor, where it's just like, you made me push a button to make sure that I skip to to episode 2, like made me skip the credits, and it was just like, yeah. And listening to Jay say that, it's like, no, that is exactly what it is, where it's like, we all know that like episode 1 doesn't, it doesn't work successfully as its own episode. And here's the thing. I mean, to a degree, I think even Marvel / Disney knows this. And I can't say that's why they released the second episode, because they have a track record of releasing 2 episodes initially, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that there's other series that have come out that episode 1 works perfectly fine and could have been an episode in and of itself. But Agatha is not one of those joints. Like, it felt like, yeah, it understood and knew there were going to be 2 episodes that released at once. And so they're like, oh, well, we can, it almost felt like a little bit of like padding, which is crazy because it's not like the joint is that long.
Yeah.
Right?
It's almost an hour.
Well, even the third episode is only like 28 minutes. Like,
no, I don't think it's not 28 minutes. Like the first episode.
No, the third.
Huh? Oh, the third. Well, the third episode is shorter.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. The third episode was shorter, but felt more substantial to me.
Right. Yeah.
As opposed to, like, say, the first episode,
because you weren't living in her delusion. Like, for some reason, they decided to prolong her delusion. Like,
right.
And they did it in a genre type of thing where it's like, if you're watching this show as a new person, you think it's that type of show. And like, so like Emily, like she likes those type of murder shows. You know what I mean? And
murder?
Yeah, they murder somebody's dirter, and their further is their torture, and yeah.
Oh,
it's like
I've
weird.
Never heard that before.
What it's because it happens in a small town where they have their own dialect and shit. Like,
okay,
it's like that's just how the shit goes. Every HBO Max miniseries is that like with the mayor of Greentown or whatever shit like that. Like they just have like this weird Pennsylvania accent and shit, or this Jersey accent, and it's like murder, you murder my dirter, shit like that.
You murder my dirter.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I told her, like, it's like one of those shows, like your murder dirter shows, and she's like, I watch a lot of these shows. This sucks. And I'm like, but it's not about this. It's about witches and shit. And she's like, and she likes witches. She's like, all right, like that whole part of the detective.
You don't need it.
She's like, I'm not feeling it. I'm out. She checked out. And I'm like,
there it is.
Like, this is where the show's gonna fail. Like, where it's like, me, I love the Marvel witches. I love how Marvel handles witchcraft. I like how Marvel handles in the comics, and watching it in the show, like watching it, the Darkhold from fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to Doctor
Mm-hmm.
Strange to WandaVision
Mm-hmm.
to this, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, for me, it's just another chapter. It's like, for me, it's chapter 5 at this point of this Darkhold saga,
Right.
you know. And like nobody's gonna get it, nobody's gonna give a fuck, and they're gonna blame it on woke shit because it's women and the shit. And then like, fuck you, bitches! It's because you don't like Marvel mysticism. That's all. Yeah, like,
Right.
and they didn't find a way to execute it to attract the masses. Yeah.
Right. Right. And so
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it boils down to the idea where it's like they may have spent a little too much time in that first episode on like stuff that's like not actually the show. And which is a little strange only because it's like the show, like when you get to what the show actually is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, why don't we just do that? You know, like I'm not saying don't like have her like come out of it. You know, I'm not saying don't have her like in her delusion like Jay was talking about. It's just like you can literally cut the delusion stuff in half and like either make that one episode or you can like you can make the first episode and the second episode one episode, or you know you can like, well, no, I honestly like I don't have another solution.
Yeah. No, honestly, like for me, it's fine the way it was. Like,
okay.
if somebody doesn't like it, then they just don't like it. Fuck you. Like, it's for me. Like, I enjoyed it. You know.
But were you were looking for like you wanted the procedural like crimes?
Well, that's the thing. All the procedural stuff is like super exaggerated, so you know it's like it's uneasy, and it makes you uneasy. So for me, it makes me empathize with her as a character because she's uneasy there, and she's like uncomfortable in these situations, and you're like, oh, you don't seem like yourself, shit like that. And then I'm like, yeah, because she ain't herself. This isn't herself. Like I know this because I know Agatha Harkness. So like, for me as a comic fan, like I'm like that prolonged that's hell. She's being tortured. She's being, she's paying penance for what she did. So for me, that's fine. Like starting off the show like that for me is fine. Like, yeah. But I could like watching Emily like not enjoy it. I'm like, okay, I can see where. And that, what you told me when we were in the Netherlands, like, did you get to see? I'm like, no. And you just like, yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where not a lot of people are gonna like. I'm like, I get it, but fuck it. But again, the witchcraft in Marvel is a lot. Like some Marvel fans don't even know there's witchcraft in it. Like
that's
like,
true. 100%.
So it's like it's one of those things. Like it's a niche part of Marvel. So how do you expect a TV show to get a mass audience if your comics can't get a mass audience? You know.
I mean, you can understand how the TV show potentially could get a mass audience, even though the comics don't, right?
I can, but with something like this, it's like I'm okay if it doesn't. Like if they don't amass a mass audience, it's because they might be doing it all right. You know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Tiger
Claws like you saw
chat.
what happened with the fucking Guardians. Like to amass an audience for Guardians, they had to do what they did. Now, would I rather have them do that for the witches? Like I would be pissed. Like I would be pissed if they did, and they kind of did a little bit, but nobody knows the difference. Yeah.
I mean, it's one of these things where I kind of feel like the Guardians things is a little different because I feel like the Guardians aspect is more about a style of cinema versus like let's put it like this. Like I feel like what they did in Agatha all along is something they would do in a comic book as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been like a shorter kind of deal. Like in a comic, it would have been like the first quarter of a comic book, as opposed to, and I guess in the grand scheme of an entire series, I guess technically, if you take the first episode to do this whole thing, it's like, okay, I guess that's the same thing as doing it in the first quarter of a comic, but like a comic and a TV show are different in regards to how much resources and like how much resources you expend in doing that. Like, even though it's from a percentage or percentage perspective, it's the same amount of time you would spend in a comic versus a series is about the same. It's like, obviously from resource perspective, it's like you're spending a lot more resources in a television show, taking 75% of an episode to like be in like the delusion versus like, the first, let's say a comic book is what, 22 pages. So let's say you mess around and take like the first 5 pages, in the delusion.
I'm just mad Hellcow's not in it.
Wait, why do you want Hellcow in it?
Why not? Like Agatha Harkness, like I want Franklin Richards in it. I want
Franklin Richards. Why Franklin Richards?
Because she takes care of him. Like she makes him hone his powers. Like all these reality bending people, like she's the one that trains her. Like that's a part of Agatha Harkness that they're not even touching up on the show. Like it's like the origin, but realistically, it's like she's could be a villain, but all the heroes that can shape reality and blink shit out of existence, she had her hand in raising them in their formidable years.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like I need a Hellcow, I need Franklin Richards, I need a baby fucking Quicksilver, and like they're not like low-key, like you're worried about that whole delusion shit, and I'm more worried about they're not doing Agatha Harkness right.
Well, hey, listen, I'll give you that, but you're talking about the difference in like power levels, and it's like that's like a whole different conversation.
She can get there, like hopefully the show works towards that, but that's what I want to see out of this. I guess if that's a question you were thinking of asking later, is I want to see like her, like she's the center, like even the chick, the potion chick, like she's the chick that was raised in like. She was raised in the nexus of all realities in Florida, like that character, like, and I love that character. I love how she came about. I don't like the characterization here, not about being black, just the design. Like she just doesn't look as cool as the character looks in the comics, But it's like you got Man-Thing out there already. Like it's like, dude, like, and we're in a multiverse saga. It's like, dude, like you got these two characters here. It's like, and then Agatha Harkness not doing shit. Like, let's hurry this shit up already. Yeah,
that's fair.
Like, I'm ready for Franklin Richards.
Jay,
yeah,
okay. Jay, how did you feel about the episodes beyond the first one?
They start to get better after the first one. Kind of interesting. Like I like the kid. He's definitely not annoying. And yeah, like it's interesting. They're doing interesting things.
Okay. Look, Tiger Claw chimed in. He said, "Do you think Agatha all along is going to set up some future MCU event? Like, could the Scarlet Witch be alive by the end of this series?" Moses, how do you feel about that?
Look, it's going to be Heroes Reborn by the time we're done. It better be.
Do you want that, Moses?
I want to see Onslaught do everything. I want to see all that shit go down, and then by the end, Franklin Richards like fixes everything, and we got Heroes Reborn.
Wait, so in the MCU, would you actually like to see a Franklin Richards character?
Look, Franklin, yeah. I mean, eventually I do, but like, if you're doing Agatha like this, like you gotta have like that's the whole point, like. Because she is like, she's always. If you're giving her a show, you gotta do something like that because she's always been a supportive role in everything. You know what I mean? So giving her like that's not a person that I would give their own. She's never really had her own comic series either. So it's like if you're doing a show, you got to bring it big. You know, you got to do something. So yeah, I think we're gonna get something like that, like a, maybe a was a Man Bull or I want to see the shit I see in all my Doctor Strange comics who are in it. So fucking yeah, Franklin Richards, whatever. Like, see, it's reality bending shit, and I'm ready for it. Like, I'm still drinking Heineken from Amsterdam. I'm still riding that high. So it's like
That's fair.
I want to trip out. I want to trip out. Like, this is the shit. This series should be as trippy as the second Doctor Strange movie, and so far it's not doing that. But he said like
So
Santa Claus said like Midnight Suns and shit. Like, I mean, I get that, but like Helverine, I'm down for Helverine.
no, listen, like that's a whole different thing. Like Jay, what do you think, man? Like like what are you looking for in regards to this particular series and touching upon what Tiger Claw was talking about with what Agatha all along might set up in the MCU?
No, I'm not looking for anything from this series.
No, why do you say it like that?
No, that's just the only thing I know about Agatha Harkness is the tutorial level of Midnight Suns has her running shit, and she's cool in that.
Dang, like you never read like nothing after post House of M or damn. I feel bad for you, bro. Like, I don't pity you, but I have compassion for you.
Yeah, so I'm not looking for. I'm just along for the journey.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm like what I will say is I'm definitely somewhere in between the two of you because, like, I'm not definitely.
Well,
I'm
you
not.
know a lot more about her than I do.
Yeah, and look, yeah, like just because I'm a Marvel guy and like it's interesting just because like Agatha Harkness has a lot of ties, of course, to the Scarlet Witch, and like while that's like somewhat
And Franklin Richards.
no 100% and Franklin Richards, but it's like while that's like somewhat touched upon in the MCU, like the connection between Agatha and the Scarlet Witch is much deeper in the comics than it is in the movies. And so because that's the case, it's like and it's an interesting thing to like perceive from a comic book fan because that like Scarlet Witch and Agatha Harkness have a connection that is deeper in the comics, but then it's like there was a certain point in the comics where people were not people, where I'll say like Marvel editorial was trying to make like a deeper connection between
Marvel editorial is not people.
they're people, but they're different people than the people. Look,
they're those
right.
people.
Nah, they're people that aren't the people. No,
they're separate but equal to us.
But there was a point where like Marvel editorial was trying to like make a connection between Scarlet Witch and like say the mutant population, even though it like Scarlet Witch had been a mutant for a long time, but she wasn't connected to mutants in a significant way. And so it was interesting for myself as an X-Men fan to like look at them like be like, oh yeah, no, Scarlet Witch has always been a mutant, which is true. But she was like a mutant in a different way than the rest of the mutants are mutants. She was almost like the mutant that got to pass as like not a mutant. You know what I mean? Where it was just like, yeah, Scarlet Witch is a mutant, but Scarlet Witch is the mutant that like gets to be on the Avengers.
Right.
You know? And no
like
one ever,
where it's like, yeah, nobody wants Beak just because he looks ugly.
Yeah, but it's not even like just Beak, because yeah, you're right. Like Beak, you're right. Like Beak should be a Morlock.
Yeah.
But Beak wasn't a Morlock because he grew up in a time after the Morlocks. You know what I'm saying? But Beak is like what I'm saying is like Cyclops. Like Cyclops could have been an Avenger easy. Like there's no like Cyclops. What do you mean not? No, see, and that's your bigotry coming through right there.
No, he would definitely need like a skateboard.
See, that's what I'm saying. Cyclops is Captain America, but without a shield.
He's no Captain America.
Guess what? Cyclops better than Captain America. Okay.
Well, for the mutants, yeah. Like
not for the mutants.
No, yeah.
Like there's like, what does Captain America have that Cyclops doesn't have?
Like
drugs. That's it.
No. Like Cyclops is like Captain America, but like if Captain America was like not in Yahoo, you know what I mean? Like,
what does that even mean? What does that mean?
Cyclops is that type of dude. Like Captain America is a little different. Like I'm saying he's better than Captain America because he does what it needs to be done.
What? No. Cyclops isn't a terrorist.
No, he's not a terrorist, but he protects his population. He's willing to do what it takes to protect the population.
But there's a difference though, because it's like it's like messing around saying like, you know, like the mutant population in the Marvel universe isn't like secured and protected.
That's what I know.
Like, the world at large.
But he's willing to protect them at whatever means necessary. Like,
yeah, but that's a different thing. Like whatever means necessary is different when you're like they're trying to kill us all the time.
Right. Yeah. And again, that's what I like. I don't think Captain America can handle a situation like that.
Well, no, listen. I mean, okay. I mean, maybe not. So, but what I'm saying to you is,
I'm saying Cyclops is better, is what I'm saying. But you don't want to accept it, like.
Yeah, well, look, because you're putting caveats. I hear the caveats.
Hey, Hickman put the caveats. Like, yeah.
No. Don't put that on Hickman. That's on you.
Yeah. And Matt Fraction, you know.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, that's you.
Yeah.
That's you.
No.
But what I'm saying to you is this:
I'm quoting scripture.
Look, but what I'll say is like Scarlet Witch, like, because Cyclops can pass as a human. He just wears red shades all the time. Done. And nobody has a problem with that because people wear like tinted shades. Like Cyclops is a white man with tinted shades. And guess what? If you're a white man, that's not uncommon.
Like you're Hunter S. Thompson.
Right. Right. But what I'm saying to you is this, is Cyclops can't just be like human. But Scarlet Witch can. Like Scarlet Witch is just like, oh, like I have these mutant powers, but I'm an Avenger. And that's the point I'm making more so, where it's like nobody looks at Cyclops and thinks like he's not a mutant. Despite what he looks like, they know he's a mutant. And that's because like it's the difference between like, say, a person that is like Orthodox Jew and somebody that's I mean, sure, like if you want to say it like that, Jewish.
I don't want you to get canceled.
I mean, no. I'm just saying, you know, it's like, you know, where it's like, yeah, like you can technically like adhere to all the things without like people knowing that you're Orthodox. And then there's people that are like, no, like I'm living a lifestyle. And
so
Cyclops
doesn't wear the curly dreads on the side.
I'm saying Cyclops does.
Okay.
And Scarlet Witch does not.
Okay.
Scarlet Witch wears the baseball cap.
And
it's like,
by Adam
huh?
Hughes. She wears the suit drawn by Adam Hughes.
Right. And it's
Which
just
is
like
that's not accepted in the Chabad temple.
And so
It's
all
not
I'm saying
nice.
is like, and I'm not trying to pass judgment on the difference necessarily. I'm just saying that they're different lifestyles. And Scarlet Witch isn't living like that lifestyle despite the fact that, she is who she is, and that's okay. Like, she chooses to do it different. Look, Quicksilver did the same thing for a while. Right? They're like brother and sister. And then at a certain point,
so you give the show like what, 5 out of 5? Is that what
I'm reserving my rating. What do you think, Jay?
I would rate it a 3.
Okay. Middle of the road. Okay. What do you think, Bo?
Oh, it's a 5 out of 5. I love it. Like
okay. Wow.
I've wanted, like, I read a comic book back in the 90s called Witches, and it was a Marvel comic, and like I loved it. And it doesn't feel like that, but this is like the next generation of that, and I mean, like, I love this. Like, people watch Mayfair Witches and Vampire Lestat or whatever on AMC. Like,
right.
I got my make mine Marvel. Like, I have that, but in Marvel, like and and if people don't like it, like, that's gonna make me like it even better. Like, because it is like, it's almost like that. It just feels like reading a comic series, a mini series. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't. There's stuff that I want them to do within the MCU, but if I don't get it, like, I'm okay with it. But I do, like, want to see this journey. Like, Catherine Hahn, like, as Agatha, is really good, and I'm in for the ride with her as Agatha Harkness. She wasn't my first choice for Agatha Harkness, but here we are. Like, I wanted more of an old bag. Like, kind of like with the Madam Web thing. Like, I just I'm used to Agatha Harkness being an old crone. Like, not the maiden. Catherine Hahn looks more like the maiden or the mother than the crone. Agatha Harkness has always been more of the crone type. So, but either way, like, that's what we got, and her performance is good, and then Aubrey Plaza is great in it. I don't know who. Let's see. Tarklow says here, does Moses like his witches hot and not Wicked Witch Ugly? Honestly, like, even Wicked Witch Ugly, I love a witchy woman. Period. Because they can just make themselves look however they want. So, or however I want. If they want whatever they want from me, which is nothing really. So it's like I get them at face value. But
right.
But yeah, and Aubrey Plaza, like, she's, I don't know who she's playing, but she gives hints of the Emerald Warrior, which is a character that as a kid I liked. So it's like she's bringing those hints, and I'm like, damn, like, just make her wear green. Like, I don't mind if it's gender swap. Like, she's doing the performance, like, what she's doing is tight, so it's like she just wears that green and has green hair. Like, I'm in, but that's what I've been thinking. But who knows? We'll see who she is in the long run. They're thinking Morgan Le Fay, but I don't know. And that's another. And I'm like thinking, man, DC needs to do DC Witches too, man, because they have a lot. Like, DC's more on the mysticism than Marvel. Like, you know what I mean? With the whole, like, Dr. Fate and all that shit. Like, plus all the Vertigo shit they've done with Hellblazer. Like, right now's the time to do all the witch shit with DC too, and they're lacking. Yeah.
Okay.
Tiger Claw says Moses is gonna be the first one to watch. I don't give a fuck about Oz. Like, the Wizard of Oz shit. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. I read the book. That movie is not like the book. I can tell from the trailer. I mean, somebody read the book to me. I don't read, but yeah. So yeah, no, I'm out. Like, I'm not watching Wicked for shit. I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Why would you not watch Wicked though?
Because it's not like the book.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Like,
Listen,
it's not like the book. Like, you know, like, yeah.
But the movie is not like the book.
The Wicked movie?
I mean, not the Wicked movie. I'm talking about like Wizard of Oz, even.
Right. I didn't read that book.
Okay.
Yeah,
right, that's fair.
So I didn't watch that movie either. Get the fuck out of here. I didn't watch that movie either.
I'm gonna give Agatha. Okay. I'm gonna give Agatha All Along a 4 out of 5. I wasn't a big fan of the first episode on like as a single episode, but the series like picks up right after that. Like the first 2 episodes should have been probably 1 episode in my opinion. And I haven't seen episode 4, but episode 3 was great, and I'm hoping that it continues in that same vein. I feel like at the end of the day, it's probably gonna be too few episodes for me, but we'll see. Hopefully, those few episodes will deliver in the way that it's supposed to, and ultimately, at the end of the series, I can give it like higher marks. But we'll see. 4 is not bad. If it ends up being a 4 overall, I'm that's good enough for me. So
I'm mad there's no Snap season for Agatha.
Hey, I hear that. It would have been nice if they did that instead of another symbiote season, just because it's like we get so many like Spider-Man / symbiote seasons so far. I'm just like, dude, like how many Spider-Man related seasons are we gonna do? Like we went from, huh?
No, go ahead.
I would say we went from like symbiote Spider-Man season to Agent Venom season, which is like not like, again, I'm not saying I don't want these cards. I'm just saying back to back, you know?
And low key, like the cards we're getting, like this should have been like a Maximum Carnage season. Like,
yeah, no, that would have been great. But they're not gonna do another Carnage.
What do you mean?
Like another Carnage card.
Oh yeah. That card's too good as it is.
It's fine. It's perfect.
No, it's tight. Like I use that shit like a motherfucker. I love
Carnage is great. Anyway,
I love killing him and then using Phoenix Force on him. Like
really? That's
that was the shit. Yeah. Of course not, Larry. Like you know. Yeah, you're not that. You don't have that killer instinct for Snap.
I guess I don't. Yeah, that'd be true.
Tiger Claw says, "You think Mephisto will show up for real this time?" Then Disney's not gonna do Mephisto ever. Like you're not gonna see any of that shit. Like
they've mentioned Mephisto.
Yeah, but they're not gonna.
They might. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
I mean, you have to do like a Faustian story, and they're not gonna do it. Disney's not gonna do that. Like
we'll see. We'll see. If Mephisto shows up at the end, it's like, yeah, that's a whole different thing. It's like, whoa. But anyway, let's talk about the Penguin. So, yeah. Jay, you got to see Penguin?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Mo gone. I was gonna ask Mo, but he's gone. Oh, Mo's back.
I didn't get a chance because we weren't supposed to talk about it this week.
No, it's all good.
I watched 28 minutes of it, and I'll tell you all about it after I get my beer.
Wait, what does that mean? He watched 28 minutes of the Penguin? Oh, I guess the first episode was like an hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Jay, well, why don't you talk to us about what you thought about your first impressions of the Penguin TV show?
My first impressions.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like it feels like a change and yet not.
A change in what?
Who the Penguin is.
Okay.
They try to give him like some backstory and make him seem like Well, basically, what starts off the story is him talking about this guy from the neighborhood that was respected, and how that's kind of his dream. And like, I'm listening to that, and I'm like, is that really the Penguin? But then I guess like it's a little bit Danny DeVito's Penguin, like it could be.
Nah.
Okay.
No, I mean, like, I'm. It's just like this Penguin is like Tony Soprano Penguin. Like every other Penguin,
yeah.
it's been an aristocrat that's just a deformed person that people have to like kowtow to because he's rich. You know, like we saw in Cape Crusader, like it was a female penguin. Everybody thought she was hot. They just acted like it because she was like a socialite, and and that's technically what penguin is. And then here, it's just a lowly mob guy, low level mob guy that's ugly. I'm just happy he's ugly.
Right. So, yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay. And so, Mo, I know you didn't get to finish the whole thing, but
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on what you did get to see?
Well, at first I was like, man, this is like Dark Victory, except Penguin's
Mm.
getting in the way of everything. And so it's just, and then then he kills Alberto Falcone, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then he hires the little kid, and I'm like, all right, like I mean, it's cool, but I'm just like, it's not. It's like trying to watch the Penguin origin story.
Okay.
And I don't want to watch that.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't care. Not this Penguin. I don't care. Like, yeah. So it's just like I saw enough in the movie. The movie set it up where he can take over the crime thing, and from what I watched in the show, it's like it's starting back. And it's like it's taking. It's almost like with the Agatha thing. It's like taking too long for him to like. We've waited long enough to see it. Why can't he just be in power? And
Wait, I mean, have we waited long enough?
It's been 3 years or something, right, since the movie.
I mean, okay. No, I mean, I feel what you're saying in that regard, but it's like,
it's just like I don't want to watch right where the movie left off. At this point, I'm ready for a time jump. Especially with.
Wait, you're ready for a time jump? I thought you hate time jumps.
I don't have time to be watching all this shit. So it's like I need a time jump. Like it's not something I want, it's something I need. Like
Got it.
But I mean it's okay, like it's fine or whatever, but like who's gonna be like I guess that's what I'm worried about. It's like because we're not gonna see Batman in here. He's not gonna be fighting Batman, he's just be fighting other mobsters. And how interesting is that going to be for me is what I'm worried about. I've watched other shows. I watched Goodfellas. I watched Once Upon a Time in America. I watched the Sopranos. Like shit. I watched the Lilyhammer. Yeah. So it's like I'm like I already like I know what it takes for mobsters to rise up. Like. And this is one of those things where it's like I love witches in the Marvel universe. I don't really care about mobsters in the DC universe, unless Batman is fucking with them, and
right.
And that's where this show is. It's like it's giving me mobsters in the DC universe, and it's not like if I'm gonna see like some good Gotham City PD shit like Rick Ruka style in here. I'm down, but I don't think I'm gonna get that either, So yeah, that's where I'm like with the show, I'm like, whatever. Like it's like I wanted to watch it. I thought we had a week to watch it and we didn't. So I only got to watch 28 minutes of it. And from 28 minutes, like it's like what the fuck is he like he killed the dude and already has to recruit like some dude from the street like to drive his car and shit. Like, it's nah, dude. Like, there's no he doesn't have the machinations to become a boss. Like, yeah.
That's interesting. See, now, don't get me wrong. I get what you're saying based on what you've seen. I feel like you might potentially feel different by the time you get to the end of the episode.
Again, I didn't have enough time to watch it, so it's like,
yeah.
If we would do this review next week, it might have been different. But I'm giving you my thoughts this week. You know?
Yeah, no, I feel that, and I feel like, you know, we'll definitely revisit it after you get to like check it out, because Tiger Claw's in chat. He says, like, you got a whole brick. I hate how the Batman movies recently, how they have to ground all the villains. Penguin has a very distinctive look to him that's very iconic, and they remove all that just to make him a mobster guy.
Look, honestly, I'm gonna call Tiger Claw the shit, because when the movie came out, I think he had the opposite opinion about the Penguin. Like, I think he liked that it was like a more grounded mobster guy. You know, for me, it was fine when they did it there. I wasn't truly enthusiastic with it, and then they went with it here, and I thought this was canceled, but I guess it's still here. So,
ooh, Tiger Claw's like, I never said that, you son of a bitch.
All right, yeah.
And listen, I don't look. I can't tell you I remember what Tiger Claw did or didn't say. What I will say is this:
I'll look at the tape. I'll look at the tape. We have the
right.
Tape.
I don't feel like the Penguin, like, while I can definitely acknowledge that the Penguin is a different version of himself than, like, say, whether you're talking about like some classic versions of Penguin, which are like, you know, comic books with him with the umbrella and the sword, or whether you're talking about like Batman 66. It's like, it's a different version.
An aristocrat that's corrupt. Like, that's all I want from like somebody that influences like senators and shit, you know?
Well, but what I'll say is this is, like, I look at this version of Penguin and I don't feel as though it's that far removed from like the original Penguin, outside of the fact that, you know, you're absolutely right in the sense that the Penguin generally is privileged.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like the Penguin being a privileged person is like so core to the character. It's like, it's more about the idea of Penguin being an outsider. It's like he has like this condition or this deformity or this, which is something that is like across the board, where you talk about DeVito or the comics, or you know, where it's like,
I know you watch Gotham a lot.
Everybody knows that I love Gotham more than every other. Like, Gotham is my comics. Everyone knows that about me and DC. No, I'm joking. That's not the case. But anyway,
but you watched every episode. Yeah.
I didn't watch every episode.
How many episodes did you watch then?
I don't know. More than I would have liked.
2 seasons.
Well, definitely. I didn't want to, but I did. What I'm saying to you is this: is Penguin, the big thing about Penguin is him being an outsider, like, because of what he looks like whether he should be a part of, like, because that's the thing, like, and that's the big difference, where, like, if he's an aristocrat, he's like, you should accept me, but you don't because of what I look like. And in this, it's kind of like, I wasn't a part of that, but you don't accept me still. And part of that's about what he looks like, and part of it is about just like who he is as a person. But either way, the theme still works either way, because at the end of the day, it's more about like you don't accept me because of who I am, and it turns out it works on both ends because and what I can tell you is this: it's like Colin Farrell's portrayal of Penguin, for me at least, is so good that I was like, I want to go back and watch what he did in like the Batman, and I did that because I was just like, does all this stuff like jibe up? Because like like you said, it does take place like I don't remember what the timeline is, but it's like legit like maybe like 3 or 6 weeks like after what happens in the Batman. Like it's the same year, you know? And so I was just kind of like, does like this characterization of Penguin match up with what they showed us in the movie? And it does. Cause I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like this all fits. Like, where
they
I'm just
filmed that
like,
shit back then. Like they just
did
they
they?
told us they were working on it then, and they're like, we just not gonna release it when the Discovery shit happened with HBO. Like it was like, and then they decided to release it eventually. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. But no, it's definitely jibing up, and like it definitely feels like a crime drama that just happens to have a character from Batman in it, which I like. But and here's the thing, like another thing you said that I understand and I'm not mad at is like I don't necessarily care about. You said you don't care about Gotham's crime families. For me, I'm like, dude, like Gotham's crime families are kind of like awesome to me, and
Yeah.
not like because that's what I was looking for from the Gotham TV show, which ended up being like, unfortunately to me, like everything was like, oh, let's take the villains that from Batman and do like the proto versions of them, like let's do like the watered down like pre-version of every villain from Batman. And for me, I'm like, no. If you're gonna do a show about Gotham's like police force, what that show should be about is like Gotham crime families.
It should be gang posters. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It should be like the Untouchables, but in Gotham.
Yeah, that's
And what Penguin is, I can't say it's Untouchables because like it doesn't have the focus from the police force.
Yeah.
Which is okay because the show's called Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
What it has what this joint feels like is like Breaking Bad inside of Gotham.
Okay.
Even though, which I guess that might be a wrong kind of, it might be a slightly like off characterization just because Penguin is not like a good person. He's always been a bad person, but it just feels as though it's kind of like what Penguin does and what Breaking Bad does well is they help you identify with the main character. And in Breaking Bad, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this person seems like a decent person and then kind of becomes this terrible person throughout the course of the show. And Penguin, like the dude, like Penguin is a terrible person from the beginning. And it's just a matter of like you watching his ascendancy. Like how terrible exactly is he willing to become to get what he wants? And that's how I see it.
I can see that. I didn't need 28 minutes of him making a little boy drive his car. Yeah.
Well, keep in mind that's half of the first episode. So
yeah, again, that's way longer than Agatha's detective stuff.
It's not though. It's the same amount of time.
All right. Well, it worked different for me there than it did here.
That's fair. Hey, That's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair because that's the whole thing where it's like I know that when I went back to look at Agatha, because I was like, man, that first episode didn't work for me, and I was thinking like, well, it was too short, and it was spent too much time on this thing. And when I went back to go look, I was like, oh, that show was actually like the first episode was actually like one of of the three was a longer version.
48 minutes.
The third episode felt longer to me, but it was covering more of the stuff that I was interested in. And so, but when I look back, I was like, oh, that third episode was actually shorter than the other two. But the first episode was like the longest, but it was doing like all this other stuff where it was like, we probably could have cut the time it was doing all the other stuff in half, and let's get to the meat of what the show is, and let's, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not
Did
saying,
you ever watch Tulsa King?
No, I haven't watched Tulsa King.
So the first episode of The Penguin is the first episode of Tulsa King. Those 28 minutes. It's the first. So, and that's why I'm like when I watch the Penguin, I'm like, it's just shot different, like a different lens and different color scheme. But it's the same shit. Like he hires a minority to drive him around, and that's how Tulsa King happens. Like starts.
It's interesting because literally today I had a friend of mine tell me that I should be watching Tulsa King because he was like, it's show.
Tight. It's worth a watch, but that first episode of Penguin didn't give me nothing I haven't gotten from Tulsa King from an aging Stallone, and it's like from a comic book property, like to be derivative of that, like that's not a good mark for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But you watched all of Tulsa King.
Yeah. It works for Tulsa King. That's not what I want from. That's not what I want from my comic media like adaptations.
Well, like, what I'm saying is, you got to watch all of Penguin first, and then tell me if that's how you still feel the same.
I mean, maybe I'll do that if I have the time or not. But either way, like the thing is, like the first episode, like first to first, it's like I shouldn't like my comics have a long history. It should be more creative than Tulsa King. And that first episode was those first 28 minutes weren't any different than Tulsa King.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I expect more from my comic adaptations.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I hold them to a higher standard. It's gospel to me. Yeah.
There it is. Well, listen, let's go ahead and rate Penguin. Jay, what would you rate the Penguin?
I give it a 3.
Okay, that's fair. Moses Magnum, what would you rate the Penguin from what you saw?
2.
2. There it is. All right. I know for me, I'd give it a 4. I liked it a lot. Yeah, like honestly, like I'm damn near on the cusp of giving it a 4.5, but we'll see how it all pans out. But I'll give it a 4. So, all right, there it is. You all ready to get out of here?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's do some final thoughts. Jay, give me some final thoughts, friend.
I don't think I have anything.
It's okay, Jay. Look, take your time. Oh, Tiger Claw says you didn't cover any of the news. I'm sorry, Tiger Claw. Like, listen, we were chatting. He said, you heard about the new movie they announced for the Robins? Oh, wait.
Yes, I have.
What's the new movie for the Robins, Jay?
It's a Dick Grayson, Jason Todd movie. It's going to be animated, head up by James Gunn.
Okay.
What? Wait. Is Batman in it?
Look, go to our Discord and you'll find out all about it.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jay. Jeez.
Our Discord, like in his defense, in the other part of the world, they didn't let us get into the Discord.
I mean, he's been home for like 3 days.
Hey,
No, that's
hey, Jay, you know what? You've been home for 3 days. How about that?
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
saw it in the Discord.
Yeah, take that in, Jay. Take that in.
one day he had to sleep.
It's true.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyway,
why I said only 3.
is Batman in it?
No,
So it's a movie about a bunch of dicks.
Okay. Moses Magnum, give me some final thoughts, man.
I mean, good night, Jay.
Jay's like, this whole thing's done. He's like, I'm shutting down the music, everything. Damn it, Jay. We got 2 minutes, Jay. You can hang out for 2 minutes.
well, I didn't turn it off. I just didn't loop it because we should be done by now.
Loop it, Jay. Loop it.
I don't do that.
Hey, Jay. I need you to get on the page, man.